Good morning, everyone. It's great to have you all here in person and online, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this second edition of the Space Sustainability Forum. We meet this week, which is also World Space Week. It was established by the UN General Assembly back in 1999. To celebrate how space and space science and technology can actually improve human life and advance sustainable development. I myself have just returned from some back-to-back missions where digital and especially space topped every agenda. From the United Nations General Assembly, the 80th gathering of the UNGA, where RT, our director of UNOSA, she and I were together at a number of events, including a space connectivity event. I also attended the G20 Digital Economy Ministerial meeting last week in Cape Town, where connectivity and inclusion were key priorities, with space technologies recognized as a key enabler. Friday, I was in Kazakhstan, where I had the pleasure of visiting the National Center for Space Research and Technology in Astana, which was quite an incredible opportunity to see so many amazing developments using not just space technology, but also how they're leveraging artificial intelligence. And so when I was en route back to Geneva, I reflected on how, since last year's inaugural forum, this community has built momentum, has shared data, and has compared best practices, giving meaning to that message of space being a true unifier. Last year, you had a number of asks for us here at ITU. You asked us to make it easier to find people and resources for better transparency, for information sharing, and practical tools for space sustainability. I think we've made some good progress on those fronts. I think we heard you and we have delivered. First, we have the ITU Space Sustainability Gateway, which is up and running. It's a sort of one-stop shop that provides points of contact across administrations, operators, and space agencies. We've also identified and set up some direct lines to the BR Space Services Department. We've also added numerous resources when it comes to post-mission deorbit and responsible disposal practices. You'll also find a wealth of information that takes from both ITUR and UNOSA. And again, I want to thank the director for her close collaboration with us in setting up this gateway. We will continue to build on this repository because we want to make it a wealth of information on space and want to make that wealth of information much easier to navigate. The second thing that we did was we launched the Space Connect series, and looking out in the crowd, although it is hard to see everyone, I know many of you have joined, some of you have been speakers. It's a series of online discussions. We've had 8 episodes so far, covering LEO fundamentals, covering authorizations, covering ground networks that enable space safety, and also looking at things like humanitarian impact and more. We'll add new topics from now till the end of the year. We're going to be diving deeper in some key issues that we're discussing here at the forum, including cislunar communications and also system resilience. The third space that I think we have advanced upon very well is linked to international cooperation. I think international cooperation on space has deepened across the ITU and also throughout the UN system. You might have noticed more space-related topics in other ITU flagship events. things like our AI for Good Global Summit. This year, we had a special focus track on artificial intelligence and space. We also had an important focus at our previous global symposium for regulators that was hosted in Riyadh, where we looked at strategic goals of universal meaningful connectivity and sustainable digital transformation and how space can actually help us to achieve those goals. Also, since last year's forum, the United Nations adopted the Pact for the Future. And that Pact for the Future calls for urgent and practical cooperation on space traffic coordination, on debris and resource governance. It also invites industry, civil society, and other stakeholders to help us build solutions. An important part of that pact is the Global Digital Compact. That Global Digital Compact recognizes satellites as critical digital infrastructure and also promotes equitable access to satellite orbits for applications like school connectivity. Our job now is to translate these commitments into operational practices. And for ITU, that means securing a reliable, interference-free radio environment that keeps our space investments both safe and sustainable. Ladies and gentlemen, if last year was about formulating practical tools, transparency, and information sharing, I think this year is all about action. For the first time, we have piloted hands-on pre-event workshops, including a space sustainability primer for our own ITU staff, and also a capacity building session for delegates of this forum that was focused on regulatory issues. And I do want to take this opportunity to thank Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia's Commission of Space and Technology, and of course the Digital Regulatory Authority, who both supported those events yesterday. And I thank you for your partnership in helping to put those trainings together so that we could kick off this forum with a shared understanding and also bring forward some concise, sharper, I would say, questions that we'll debate over the next 2 days. So tomorrow we're going to be seeing a live demo of space traffic coordination. It's a space traffic coordination system that provides space flight safety services to civil and commercial operators. And this shows what's possible when public services and commercial capabilities align. And when they align on conjunction screening, on messaging, and on data exchange. And both today and tomorrow, you're going to hear about similar opportunities from missions across LEO to lunar orbits and enabling spectrum decisions that keep them viable. Direct-to-device, of course, direct-to-device services that extend coverage, save lives, and support first responders, to AI in operations and anomaly detection, to collision avoidance, to more resilient networks, and of course to the WRC. You're all familiar with the WRC. The next radio conference, about 80% of the agenda items actually relate to space. Our conversations, as Patricia alluded to, are going to be grounded in real market signals. Because more than $60 billion have been invested in space over the past decade, with 80% of that happening over the last 5 years. More countries are establishing space agencies, and the number of countries that are active in space has absolutely boomed. As customers of space services or data, to tech innovators, to operators, scientists, and explorers. These economic trends are not abstract. They are workforces, they are factories, they are supply chains that are worth an estimated 1.8 trillion US dollars by 2035. They're also the reason that coordinated filings and interference mitigation matters. It matters more with each passing month. Over the next 2 days, we're going to be candid about the challenges of space sustainability. Constellations at scale, as you all know, require coordination at scale. From disciplined submissions and early bilateral work to credible follow through. Space and spectrum situational awareness is mission insurance, but it can only be as strong as its data, common formats, clear responsibility, and a culture of sharing. And inside ITU, demand continues to surge, as my colleagues from the Radio Communications Bureau can confirm, that demand continues to surge with requests for spectrum and orbit resources having multiplied 5.5 times over the past decade. So we need to work together, and we need to work together to uphold our responsibility as stewards of spectrum on Earth and in space. We need to work together to keep the process fair and to keep the orbital and spectrum environment usable for all. Ladies and gentlemen, if we want space to reach the benefits of space, I should say, to reach all people, we need better communication, we need close coordination, and we need to redouble our sustainability efforts. Together, we can ensure that space not only drives innovation and economic prosperity everywhere, but that it becomes a foundation for resilience and inclusive global progress for everyone, now and for generations to come. So on behalf of my fellow elected officials and the ITU family, I thank you again for being here, and I wish you all an inspiring and, of course, a successful forum. Thank you very much.